a lecture session organized by the KMA Women Forum. Let us begin the session with a minute silence and pray to Almighty that we all remain safe and healthy and the whole world overcomes these challenging times. And also, especially to say a word of prayer for all those who have suffered and still suffering during these tragic times. Continue to be seated wherever you are and close your eyes for a minute. Thank you and good evening once again to our guest of the evening, Dr. Senthamarai, Chief Executive Officer at Betamonks Innovations Private Limited, our Women Managers Forum leader and our MC member and Executive Director at Federal Bank, Ms. Shalini Warrior, the Women Managers Forum members who are part of this event now, Dr. Shailaja Menon and Dr. Shobha Menon, past presidents, Mr. A.K. Nair, Mr. S.R. Nair. I cannot see anymore right now on the screen. We have got our Senior Vice President, Nirmala Lili, Vice President, Mr. Balakrishnan, other members of the Managing Committee, other members of the Women Managers Forum, members of KMA and other LMAs, students and invited guests. Good to see that the attendance is very good already, and I'm sure this is going to swell even further as we progress. Well, this is how KMA has been pulling on in these troubled times to keep our members engaged, remain positive, and provide with meaningful deliberations and events of utility. This is the 10th event of this KMA calendar year being organized by the Women Managers Forum. As part of the annual theme of KMA, that is spearheading responsible management, we have treated diversity and inclusion as one of the main focus areas of this year. In this regard, Madam Shalini Warrior has been conceiving many programs under the aegis of the Women Managers Forum to help women in their businesses, professions, and personal lives to get on with the learning and innovation, to remain updated and to stay ahead in these changing times. As I always say, once we got going, we realized that all such topics are also quite inclusive, as there is no gender disparity when it comes to these topics, and it's important to all of us of all genders and not just the women folk. Second Thursday of every month has been earmarked for the Women Managers Forum event, and here we are on the 9th of the month, or the second Thursday of September, and having this session. The KMA Women Managers Forum started off the year with a panel discussion in December with a very decorated panel of speakers leading a discussion on the topic, Glass Ceilings for Women Leaders, a Myth or a Reality. And thereafter, we had a masterclass on digital marketing led by a domain expert from Chennai, Ms. Aarti Srinath, in January. The third program was a chat session dwelling on a very useful and interesting topic, Make Your Money Work for You, Financial Planning Made Easy. And the fourth event was a session with Professor Vasanthi Srinivasan of IIM Bangalore, addressing us on the importance of continuous learning and staying agile. And in April, we had Professor Niharika Vora, Vice Chancellor of Delhi Skill and Entrepreneurship University, talking about women directors in the corporate world and the need for more of them. The sixth event had a very profound topic for discussion. Women leaders, assertiveness is not aggressiveness. And we had Ms. Shivapriya Balagopal of Eastern Continents, Ms. Shreyashi Sen of Darpan Global, Ms. Hema Mani of Lennox International, and Mr. Krishna Kumar of Siemens, sharing their thoughts on this very relevant topic. In June, in the seventh event of the Women Managers Forum, we had a very interesting session on a very topical topic, boosting emotional immunity. And we had an expert in dealing with happiness quotient, Ms. Amrita Gupta Nair, founder of the Happiness HQ, engaged in a very interesting chat with Ms. Sujata Kshirsagar, the Chief Sales Officer at Career Launch. In the eighth event in July, it was a masterclass on a technical topic, which has become a part of our day-to-day life now, artificial intelligence. And we had the perfect man to share his expertise on this domain in Mr. Robin Tommy, who heads the Rapid Labs involved in innovation and research at TCS. And last month, in the 9th edition of the forum, we had yet another profound topic dwelt by Ms. Elizabeth Kurvula, founder of Green Shine in the UAE, who elaborated her passion to save the environment and saving water through her successful initiative. And all these events were well received by our members if we go by the feedback received at KMA through the feedback forms as well as the direct messages received by us. Those of you who have missed any of these events or any of our past events for that matter, please tune into the YouTube channel of KMA where you can watch all these without any loss of context. Today, in the 10th monthly event of the Women Managers Forum, we have a very interesting session, which is a topic that reads, Build a Brand Called You. Building any brand is a very complicated, elaborate, yet scientific and artistic process. Whether it is branding a person, a product, or an organization, it begins with knowing fully well what we are and what others think we are, and then work on the various aspects of how you want others to think or perceive us, our product, or our business or organization for success. And we have here with us today someone who works big time on branding and partnership building, both very closely connected. She is into clothing, into education, into software service ventures, and thus be termed as a serial entrepreneur. Her passion for people, marketing, and customer service brought her into serial ventures. And today, she is going to explain to us how to build ourselves personally as a brand that can be uniquely identified, why it matters, and how you can create a winning brand called You through her lecture, Build a Brand Called You. On behalf of the Managing Committee at KMA and all present here, I formally welcome Dr. Senthamarai Gokulakrishnan, Chief Executive Officer at Betamonks Innovations Private Limited, to this lecture session. I also extend my hearty welcome to all the past presidents of KMA present here, members of the Managing Committee and the Executive Committee, the Senior Vice President, members of KMA and other LMAs, members of the Women Managers Forum, student members, members of the media, and all invited guests to this session which is about to begin. Now, to formally introduce the speaker of the day, let me invite Dr. Shailaja Menon, who is an active member of the Women Managers Forum, and she's also the former head of department at Chinmaya College and now a director at Tattva Center of Learning. And to the delegates present here, please post your questions on the sessions in the chat box and it will be taken up after the lecture is completed. Now, it is time for Dr. Shailaja to formally introduce the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Good evening, Dr. Senthamarai, our speaker of the evening, Mr. Madhu Chandran, President of KMA, and Ms. Shalini Varia, the chairperson of the Women's Manager Forum, members of the KMA, ladies and gentlemen, and students. We're very fortunate to have with us this evening Dr. Senthamarai to speak on the topic, Building a Brand Called You. The Women's Managers Forum of KMA has been showcasing the abilities of awesome women every month, and the September edition is only going to add to that luster. A banker turned successful women entrepreneur, Dr. Senthamarai is the co-founder of Betamonks Technology Factory and founder of Betamonks Innovations. She runs the clothing to software service ventures with 200 plus employees. Betamonks Technology Factory, a technology accelerator, helps companies to accelerate digital transformation in their businesses. Betamonks Innovations is building technologies for safe and discreet online service that enables young people to get better and accessible care for their elders. She also runs businesses to enable talented people from underprivileged backgrounds to reach their potential. Dr. Senthamarai, alumni of ISP, holds a Bachelor in Commerce, a diploma in software technology, and is a certified financial planner. Prior to becoming an entrepreneur, she spent more than a decade in the banking industry and gained enormous experience in the corporate world. She has garnered a whole host of awards, some of which are Exceptional Women of Excellence from the Women's Economic Forum in 2018, Women Leadership Award from the World Marketing Forum in 2019, and the Women's Achiever Award 2020 from India 5000. Dr. Senthamarai believes in having a social purpose. She's passionate about mentoring young minds and women and inspiring them to become entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed fortunate to have her as our speaker this evening. All of us are eagerly looking forward to hear you, madam. The stage is yours, or rather the screen is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Shailja. Thank you so much for that warm introduction, and thank you, Madhavan sir, for having me, and Shalini ma'am for referring me. Good evening, everyone, and I'm really excited to be here and talk on my favorite topic, the topic which I'm so passionate about: build a brand called you. So today's session, this is all about you, how you can identify your brand identity, how you can build your personal brand, gather everything that makes you you. So this session is all about you. So we will make it very interactive. Know who you are. We'll have a survey. We'll have a couple of poll questions. There will be a lot of activities what I'm going to make you do. So this is all going to help you discover yourself better. So next 1 hour, what I'm going to have the screen space. It's going to be all between you and me. So please be ready to unmute yourself or like switch on your camera. I would request you all to please have the cameras on and participate in all the poll and survey. Irrespective of the results, it is just more of these questions were framed just to make you think more about yourself. So participate in all the questions and see where we are. This is one topic which matters to all of us, regardless of your gender, regardless of your age, your profession, your industry, or whatever level you are in. This is one topic which is relevant to everyone, and I am passionate about this topic. So we'll start with one survey. I'll be really interested to understand what you all think about branding. In fact, we started off with some casual conversations, but I would like to know really what you know about branding. And please use the chat box to share your thoughts, your questions, and your thoughts like that. And let's keep it interactive. Okay, so first is a survey. I would like to read this virtual room, whom all we have, and where are you in your journey of building your brand. Okay, some might have started, some might have not even thought about it, some might be an expert in branding. So let us understand each other better, and and take this survey. So Hema, can you open the survey for us? Okay, so the link is on the chat box. So please click on the link and it will direct you to a couple of questions. It will not take more than a minute over there. Some basic questions on, are you able to open the chat, the link?
Yes, it's open.
Okay, so some basic questions about your gender, the age group you fall under, your current position, why would you want to build your personal brand? You can pick up any option. It can be your memorable, or whether you want to move up your corporate ladder. That's why you are looking at your brand, or getting the dream job. If we have some students here, maybe you're looking for the dream job, or building trust with prospective clients and employees. That's my favorite. Or it can be even you want to have a control over your initial perception, what people have on you. It can be anything. Just pick up the right one, whichever suits you. And the next is, I think, do you believe that improving your personal brand is important for your career advancement? Whichever level of career you are in right now, do you think personal branding is going to help you step up your corporate ladder? So just select the option, right option, which best suits you. And we are going to take a minute over here. Should we stop? It's 6:16. Are all done? Okay, so Hema, can we have the results, please? They've just started, ma'am. Hema, if you can just share the screen and okay, yeah, get it done. So as we wait for the results, this is just the initial step where we try to set the tone, try to understand who we have as an audience and where they are in the journey of branding, and then how they create their personal brand. This is applicable to anyone and everyone. This is more like trying to understand who you are right now. And a lot of questions what we are going to ask today. In fact, I'm going to also share a self-analysis which you can do at home. There's a lot of homework what I'm going to give you. So all these things is just going to help you understand yourself better. In fact, I'm going to ask you do this exercise with your friends and with your colleagues, with your family. And also if you have a mentor or a coach, you can do that. So I think we have got the results. Yes. Okay, so do you believe that improving your personal brand is important? 12%, neither nor important. Okay, very important. Okay, very good. And then why would you want to build your personal brand? Okay, move up the corporate ladder, build trust with, okay. Interesting views. Okay, so this is where we are right now. So you can close, ma. Let me open my screen and just open the presentation. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay. So this is build a brand called you, my most favorite topic, and why are we even talking about it? So before that, okay, as I said, I'm not going to just keep listening, but there's a lot of these kind of words will come. This is personal values, or no, it can remind of anything. So this is a small activity what I'm going to ask you to do. So I want you all to reflect on these personal values. What is the person brand, or it can resonate with anybody whom you can think of. So for example, energetic, whom you think of. You can use the chat box and as the words come in, please, the first thing what strikes your mind, just throw your thoughts. First is energetic, then we have role model. Who's your role model? What do you remember when you think of a role model? I think we have 78%, 78 people on the virtual room, and I want everyone to participate. Let me open the chat. Virat Kohli for energetic, yes, absolutely. For role model, Ratan Tata, yes, my previous boss. Ma'am, you are my role model. Okay, so the next is inspirational. When I say inspiration, who's the first thing or brand or what comes? It can be your mom, it can be your dad, it can be your friend, family, anybody. Dalai Lama, okay. Tasty food. Who comes to your mind? Okay, Sudhamurti, okay. Mother, yes. And yeah, leadership, affectionate, Azim Premji. Okay. Mom. First choice is mom, right? For affection. Tasty food, chettinad food. Yes. Okay. We have a couple of more personal values. Home food. I'm going to drop into your home, Shivakumar. I'm a big time foodie. What we have next? Teamwork. Family affectionate. Family comes first. Teamwork. Whom we can recollect of immediately. Colleagues. Any one person who has inspired you. When you think of teamwork, any one person from your previous team or somebody. Ratan Tata, absolutely. Okay. Dhoni. Former CEO. Subhash Sridharan. Okay. Team. The current team. I hope it's a current team. Right? Okay, so we have got some interesting thoughts over here. If it's going to be affection, it's more like family, or if it's a teamwork, it's obviously the current team or the previous team or the boss. So these are some interesting perspectives what we have. Okay, so great. Now, assuming you have a client meet, okay, you have a prospect meet, or maybe an employer meet, or you have an interview for this matter, what words would jump into their mind when your name comes to the meeting? Okay, the similar exercise, assuming you are going for a meeting, irrespective of whatever scenario it might be, what things pop up? What are the personal values they can think of when your name comes up in the meeting? Have you ever thought about that? Let me give you an example. Okay, when I go for a meeting, they say energetic. Energy comes first. Passion. Okay, then they say like no role model. So there are a lot of things which resonates with Senthamarai. When they say immediately, there are certain personal values which gets attached like that. That's your brand, right? So have you ever thought of what kind of qualities is attached to our name or our whatever we are? Have you thought about that? If not, please think right now. Okay, so we will discuss about no more such things the next couple of minutes, but let us move on to the next one right now. So that I'm going to share an interesting quote what I like in my personal life. Okay, we still had selfless innovation. That's fine. Okay, so what makes you unique makes you successful. Okay, I have strongly believed in this all throughout my career. Have been working with, on creating a niche for myself as part of my brand building exercise. Even before this particular term became the buzzword, I was starting building on my brand. Okay, from my 2001. Okay, I had been building on my brand very silently. Okay, so what comes to your mind that we will discuss, but unique is something which is really important. You have to be unique. So three things which really matter to me, when I was building my brand is, first is people skills. Okay. Number two is building relationships. And number three, and which is very important, which is very close to my heart, is standing out from the crowd. Okay. So, and this has continued throughout from my career and also in my entrepreneurial journey. And that is how I built my personal brand. Okay. So there's a saying which says like, no, necessity is the mother of all the discoveries, right? I'm going to replace invention to discovery. So that's how I started inventing myself, trying to see how I can stand out from my team members or people who are doing the similar stuff what I do. Okay, from my banking days, then I moved on to a corporate software company. Then I was a guest lecturer for a college. So wherever I went, I had to stand out. I had to be unique. Okay, in the way I present, what I do, how I do, everything had to be unique. And that had been teaching me, background on how I can build my personal brand. So for you all, let me tell you one thing here. You are the CEO of your life. Okay, whoever we work for, whether we are our own, we work for our own company or for somebody else, we are the CEO of our life. Okay, so start weaving your story if you have not started yet, but do it slowly and steadily. There's no hurry saying like tomorrow I have to have a personal brand, I have to have a great visibility on social media. No, that is not the case. But start somewhere. Please be slow and steadily, but do it. Okay, if you're not there yet, start it. Okay, so this is definitely an ongoing process. This is not that's why I always say this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. You can't get results immediately, but you will definitely get it, and it's really worth it. Okay, so this has become a very popular buzzword for personal brand, but what does it really mean? We all say personal brand, personal brand. In fact, for the next 1 hour, you're going to listen a lot of personal brands from me. So what does it really mean? Okay, I would like to quote one of the definitions what Amazon CEO Jeff said. Okay, so your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Okay, this is absolutely true. Okay, I perfectly agree with what you said, because people are weaving a story about you even though you're not telling it yourself. Okay, people are judging you, the way you enter, the way you talk, the way you present, the way you even sit. Okay, that talks about you. Okay, so people are weaving a story, and what is that you want people to perceive, that is very, very important. Okay, so there are a lot of these kind of definitions, but in my personal opinion, what I want to call personal brand is, it is a reflection of who you are, what you believe in, okay, why you do what you do, and how you do it. Okay? It is as simple as that. Let's not complicate it. Okay, there are a lot of definitions, but this is as simple as narrowing down to you. Okay, who you are. Okay, what you believe in, your values. Okay, why you do what you do, what kicks you in the morning to get up, okay, out of your bed. Okay, that is what you do, right? And how you do it, how you execute things. There are a lot of ways where we can do one thing, but you have to have your own way of doing things, right? Okay, that's how you can be successful. So it all comes back to be how you can be unique and how you can be successful. So this is my way of saying it. So if you have to just go back and think about what is your personal brand, it is a clear, powerful idea what people have about you. Okay, it is not what you say you are. Let me be very clear here. I might think I'm like, I'm like another Indra Nooyi or whatever you are, but what people see me is what is my personal brand. Okay, so can you influence what people think about me? Yes, it is possible. That is what we are going to discuss in the next couple of slides. So next we are going to see something very important. Okay, so this today's digital era, the digital world what we live in, your personal brand is going to be a combination of three important things. One is it is going to be unique. Okay, that is, no matter, this goes without saying. This is a combination of your spiritual thought leadership, then your strategic thought leadership, and then your social media thought leadership. This combination of these three things that defines your unique identity. That is the core of your thought leadership. Okay, all your personal brand will revolve around these three things. Okay, it is your value, what you bring on the table, unlike anybody else. Okay, there are so many people doing what you do. Okay, so what you bring onto the table, how you do things differently, what do you do differently, what you built differently. It can be product, it can be service, it can be an image for yourself. So what have you built differently, and how have you envisioned your future? Okay, it is a combination of all these things what I discussed right now. Okay, that's your personal brand. So for your social media, so what you say, what you do, how you interact on your social media, on your page, how you engage with your audience. It's not just what the post, what you put, but also how you engage with them. Okay, uh, how you are online and offline. Okay, the image what you carry, because some people have very different image on their social media handles, but you actually, when you meet them, they're completely different. Okay, so all that matters. Okay, and everything conveys about your brand. Whatever I discussed right now, just last 1 or 2 minutes, everything conveys about your brand. This can either build or create your brand, or it can even destroy your brand, what you have already made. Okay, so let us be very mindful of this fact that you are your brand, and that is as unique as your DNA. Okay, I like this picture, I like this character, so, and that is also unique. So there may be many people in my domain, okay, in your domain. So what is so unique and different about you that makes people notice you, right? Okay, if you take software domain, there's so many people, there's so many software companies, so many technology companies. Why do we stand out? Most of our businesses are through references. If you have seen my company's branding, every business what we get, 99% is through references, and our business model is different. Okay. In fact, I have been part of ISB Goldman Sachs program twice, and I'm a ISB ambassador. My business model is different. My business model was picked up as the top 10 business models in the entire batch what they had. So that talks about the uniqueness. So everything revolves around the customer. Whatever we do, it revolves around the customers and what value we can add so that they can disrupt in their business. It's not about what I do, but it's about how we can help them to disrupt their business. And that's where the uniqueness stands for. Okay. So same way, you have to identify your distinction, whether in your business, whether in your corporate life, whether in your professional life. You have to identify the differentiator, that uniqueness, or whatever you want to call it as. Try to see how you can be different or stand out from your competitor or the person who's doing something very similar to you. Okay, and that is called your unique value proposition. Your unique value proposition is not only for businesses but also for personal brand. And how do you bring that USP into your world, and how do you add value to your world, add value to the society and community? That really matters. Okay, so first of all, how do we find the differentiator? Okay, I do my job, but how do I think I'm having that one factor which is going to differentiate me, that I'm going to help out? So let us understand this better with one more activity. Okay, let's move on to the next activity where we are going to discover your brand. This is one exercise what I wanted to do, where no, you have to forget your qualification, what you have studied, your current role, where you're working, your family responsibilities, your gender. I want you to describe yourself in 5 to 10 words, okay? And I'm going to give you just 1 minute here. And please use the chat box to leave your thought, how you can define yourself, okay? So your time starts now, 6:33, yeah. Just 5 to 10 words maximum, not more than that. This can be your brand statement. I have opened, okay. Committed, hardworking, sincere, faithful, loyal, loving. Okay, awesome. Okay, responsible leader, ethical, trustworthy, leading from front. Okay, honest, dependable, creative. Shalaja, I think we're on the same road. Okay, interesting. Cheerful, empathetic, perfectionist, hardworking, a great listener. Okay, passionate, committed. Pleasing, sincere, hardworking, and happy. Goal-oriented. Wow, Indra. Amiable, unique, dependable, punctual. That's very important quality. Focused, okay. Hardworking, dependable, strategic. Green lifestyle. Anshida, that's interesting, Anshida. Enthusiast and people person. Absolutely. Inspirational, committed, dependable. That's very important quality, right? Yeah. Organized, disciplined, honest, hardworking, humble teacher. Great. Common purpose. Amazing. What else? Who else? People oriented. Wow. I think that's where we are heading, right? It has to be trustworthy, focused, continuous learner, hardworking, learner for life. Hardworking, friendly, trustworthy, determined, empowering people, amazing support. Yes, true, absolutely. Okay, so how many of you found it difficult? I can see only 10, 15 entries maximum. How many of you found it difficult? See, this is the first step for preparing towards your elevator pitch. Okay, or framing your personal branding statement. This is the first step. So how many of you found it difficult? Do you want me to give you a formula for calculating this? If yes, yes. Rajil does. I'm going to help you with that. How many of you want the formula? Yes, yes. Awesome. Okay, so let me give you the formula. Okay. So your action plus your target client is equal to your solution. Okay, you can rearrange this in any order. Your brand statement, this should convey, when you're framing your brand statement, please keep in mind certain things. What are they? One, what you do. Okay, what you do right now, your profession or whatever you do, why you do is unique in your field. Okay, please remember that your passion. Okay, what are you passionate about? I'm going to talk a lot about passion, so please, because that the passion and value are really important for you to determine your personal brand. Okay, and reflect your values. Okay, your personal brand statement or your brand statement should reflect your values, your core values, your beliefs. Okay, and target your specific audience. Okay, so that's very important when you're defining your brand statement. You can rearrange this in any order what you want. So if you take my personal brand statement for an example, my statement says something like this: being a catalyst for people to reach their potential. Okay, so here my passion has always been on helping others to reach their potential. Okay, from my childhood, whatever I had been doing, if I learn, I will teach others. Okay, that's why I worked as a guest lecturer. Even all the businesses what I've run, my fashion label, it's not what I can do, it's about how I can help people, how they can look best on their big day. If it's a software company, all this is because how they can achieve their business target, how they can disrupt their market. It's always about how they can reach their potential. And that is exactly why being a catalyst for people to reach their potential has been there with me for some time. So let me break this. Okay, so my action would be being a catalyst. Okay, your target you can mention as like, no, I help them, or I want to do this, whatever you want, but my action item what I picked it is being a catalyst. Okay, my target audience here I've said people, because for me it's the whole world whom I can help with the technology, or help with the with software what I do, or help with anything else. Okay, so that's why I said there's no restriction for my target audience. But if you are in a profession which you have to define, you have to define the range, please do that. And then the solution, how are you going to help them? What is your value, what you are going to give it to them? Okay, that's more important. Here in my brand statement, it is I help them to reach their potential. So that's how I have framed my brand statement. Is it clear? Are you getting a little bit of clarity on how you can work on your brand statement? Okay, awesome. Okay, so very important thing. Next is a very important thing what we are going to do. Since we have done this activity, I'm going to ask you just to think for a minute. Have you ever thought about what others think about you? Okay, this hardworking, your the dedication, all this is perfect. But have you thought what others think about you? Have you tried doing this exercise with your family? Wings to dreams, students plus kiss the sky. Wow, Indra, amazing. Let me tell you something here. Okay, do this exercise. After we are done with the session, please try this. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 different target audience. One, do this exercise with your family. Okay, get their feedback. Okay, try to ask them to define yourself. Maybe not just words, it can be even a sentence. I'm so and so, like that. You can ask them to define. Okay, get their feedback, and then try the same exercise with your friends. Okay, and repeat the same with your colleagues, your team members. Okay, and you will get a 360-degree view of about yourself. Trust me, this is really interesting. It might not be the same as what you think or what you think about yourself, but that will actually help you to understand what people think about you. Okay, why I said these 3 segments is because they are the people who are closely connected with you, okay, who have been seeing you today or for some time. Okay, so try doing this, and one step ahead, in fact, I would say do this with your mentor or a coach. Okay, you will get one more different perspective. Okay, so make sure not just one person, try with at least 5 people in each group and compare the results. Okay, it would be really interesting. Trust me, you get different perspective. And one thing here, after you're done with the exercise, put a sheet, a Google sheet, and try to see where you are, which are the qualities which actually matches, and work on something which doesn't match with you. Okay, you think, no, this is not me. How did they think about myself like this? So try to see, if it syncs. And trust me, if it syncs, then you have achieved the mission of establishing a successful personal brand. Okay, so this is a very interesting exercise. Please do it in the next couple of days, and if you can share the results, I'll be really interested to see what happened. Okay, so till now we have been talking about all about personal branding, right? Okay, next is let us look about the value propositions of the brand called you. Okay, what actually constitute together to build that brand you. Okay, so this is very interesting. What I have here, the first one is your passion. Why am I not able to move? Yeah, your passion. Okay, then your values, your skill set, and most important, your purpose. Okay, these are the most important things which actually constitutes the brand called you. Okay, so let me just give you a brief explanation of what these each are. So what's your purpose? Okay, your vision. How do you turn your vision into reality? Understanding your unique value purpose in order to make that mark what you want to make, or no, a dent in the world. That is your purpose. Okay, so the next is values. A brand always starts with your values. Okay, what do you stand for? Whether it can be your quality, it can be excellence, it can be teamwork, it can be leadership, it can be even innovation, whatever it can be. If you're clear about it, if you know what is your value, then you can build a successful brand. Okay, next is passion. Okay, what excites you? Okay, what energizes you? Okay, what is that which kicks you out of bed every day morning? That's your passion. Okay, and the next and most important is your skill set. Okay, how good an expert are you that what no one else can do what you do? Okay, so try to identify what skills are required and where you stand right now. So whatever skills are required need not be you are ready for that, but try to identify if there is any gap and try to bridge that gap. Okay, it can be education, it can be experience, it can be upskilling yourself, whatever it is. Try to identify what is the skill set required. Okay, so these are the 4 things which are actually required. So let me quickly get back to the poll, because this is a very important segment. Let us try to understand yourself better. Let me try to understand your better with the poll. Let me stop sharing. And Hema, if you can share your screen. I stopped, yes. So let us quickly get back to the poll and try to understand your perceptions on value proposition. Okay, this is very simple. So whatever we saw, your passion, your value, your purpose, your skill set, it's all about you, right? Okay, try to see how you can answer this question. I'm going to take only 2 from this, but all this for your own analysis. Emma, I can't see your screen. Can you come out and try again? Is the screen visible for others, or you're able to see me on your knee?
Yes, it's visible.
It's visible? Okay. Have you shared the link? Okay, so these questions are designed to enable you to further discover yourself, okay, your passion, your value. So first question is, what are the top 3 reasons to invest in your personal brand? Why a personal brand for you? Okay, pick up the top 3, which is very close to why you want to do that. And what would be, if you have money, okay, because many people do a job or do the business for earning, right? Finance is so important. How do we survive? So if that is the case, if money wasn't the issue, what will you do? What will you do for your, maybe when you get time? So that is the next question. Maybe we can take 1 minute here, 6:45. We'll close by 6:46. Okay, so the next question will be, what are the key success factors for a great personal brand? You can select 3 options over there. While we are doing that, I think Shivashankar, I just reading your comment, I skip all the bad evaluation of me. Don't even bother about the bad evaluation. Ask only people who really matter to you, who really are concerned about your future, about you. Okay, so that's one important thing what you can actually do. Okay, again, interesting. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So what pops up your mind immediately is what is the right one. You don't have time to think. You should not take time to think. The thinking process is for your homework. You can do it at home. I'm going to share this presentation and these questionnaires so you can do at home. What type of people am I drawn to? Drawn to, matlab, I really meant here is like, no, whom you want to spend time to, whom you want to be with. It can be your any organization, or it can be a leader, or it can be a role model, it can be anyone. Done. Super. You're super fast. I think we're done. Emma, if we can get the results, please. I hope we are done, and yeah. I'm done. Yesterday. So these are the very important questions which will actually let you think more about yourself, try to understand better, right? In fact, there's a self-analysis kit what I'm going to share with you. So that's also a very interesting one what you can think about. Awesome. Thanks, Emma. Okay, real purpose. What would you do? Okay, okay. Higher education. Okay, that is exactly what I had in my mind. Okay, high integrity. Very interesting. Okay, so since we have done this exercise, I think you have lots in your mind. But when you're defining your brand, please consider these. Please remember these things. So as I said, we're going to share the kit also. So Hema, if you can just put that document on the chat box, and also I can share with Shalini ma'am. She can share with all. You can download this and do your homework when you are doing your personal brand analysis. Okay, Hema, if you can stop sharing, I can open my presentation. Let me get back to where I was. Okay. So this is a very important segment in the whole session. Okay, now we know what is personal branding and we know why we need that. Okay, but how do we build it? That's a very important question what I'm always asked for, which I'm going to demystify right now. So first thing is, branding is all about authenticity. It's about being real. Okay, so your brand personality is something you can't create. Okay, you're not trying to create something which is not there. Okay, let me be very clear here. That is inauthentic. Okay, so your branding should be always authentic. So first, dig deep and understand more about yourself. Okay, who you really are, what is important to you. Okay, so that you can integrate those information into everything you do in your daily life. Okay, so let me give you an example here. I love diamonds. Okay, this is the first time which has come up, but I love diamonds, and I'm sure everybody here likes diamonds and gems, right? Okay, so how do you get the gem? Okay, this is a very basic example what I wanted to give you, but how do you get the gem? First, the stone has to be discovered, right? Okay, okay, then it has to be polished to get that shine. Okay, then it has to know its value. Okay, where it has to be sold. The same stone can be stored on the streets of Tinagar, or it can be stored on a hi-fi store. So where? Okay, and how do you bring it to the market? So that's the whole process of how we love diamonds, how we buy diamonds. So the same way, when you're building your personal brand, there are three major steps, very important steps, which actually defines what you are. Okay, first and foremost is discover your identity. Okay, just like diamonds, you need to discover yourself, okay, your promise, your value. And then, okay, assuming you know your promise, assuming you know who you are, your brand story, what you want to convey, assuming you have your brand statement ready, then try to see what is that most unique brand attribute or values. Whatever we discussed right now, if you have to prioritize, okay, select the top three, what would that be? Okay, and how do you stand out from others who do what you do? Okay, think about your peers, think about your competitors, and try to define the first three qualities. How do you stand out for? Okay, why do you stand out for? And do you know how others perceive you as a brand? If you do the second exercise or second activity, what I said, you will know what people think about you. So try to consider that when you're doing this exercise. And what is your communication plan to express your brand? Okay, It can be through social media, it can be through your website, it can be through any channel, but have you thought your mind? Okay, because your content or whatever we're going to speak in the next couple of minutes will be dependent on which channel, okay, which communication plan you want to express your personal brand. So please do this exercise when you are trying to discover your personal brand. Okay, the next important question is crafting your identity. Okay, once you know who you are, okay, once you have discovered your authentic self, okay, this is what I am all about. You know your target audience, okay. If you're working, you know which employer or know who's going to be your target audience. Just like how we polish the stone to get that shine, you need to craft your identity. Okay, you need to craft your personal brand statement, what we just discussed a couple of minutes back, and try to see if you can create your own personal campaign. Okay, just like how we create campaigns for our corporate brands, you need to have your brand campaign. I will tell you, I'll just demystify brand campaign also for you. This process of crafting your identity is your elevator speech. Okay, that 10 seconds what you get, okay, that defines what you do, why you are you unique in your field, and your values, your personality. All this will be part of that 10-second elevator pitch what you're going to prepare. So some of the things what you can consider when you are building this elevator pitches, what do people recognize your expertise in? Whether you're, for me, if it's going to be technology, or whether it's going to be people, or whether it's going to be skill development, what is that people recognize your expertise in? It's not what you are expert, but what people think your expertise lies in. And then how do you want to be known for? Okay, how others describe you. So all the activities results is what is going to help you define what is the next one. And whatever you're going to define, that is going to be your elevator speech. So you can play with the words and you can come with something which resonates with you. Okay, so if someone is going to ask what you do, okay, you should be able to naturally respond with those identifying keywords that really represents what you do. That should include everything what you do and what we discussed in the last couple of minutes is what is going to be your personal brand. Okay, and the next important step here is how are you going to communicate your value? Okay, now you have discovered yourself, you have crafted your your brand, your identity, and how do you communicate it? Okay, where do you communicate? This is the very important step in the entire process of building your brand. Just like organizations, we try to differentiate with, like, no, you do your PR campaign, you have your strategic marketing approach. Just like that, when you think about your personal brand, we need to focus on two important things: what we want to communicate, okay, and how are we going to communicate. There are two important steps which will come here under communicating your value. So let's talk about what are we communicating first. Okay, if you ask me, have you ever tried Googling yourself? Okay, if you try to Google yourself, what comes up? What shows up? This is a simple and very interesting exercise which many people have not done. Okay, we do so much of great work, in our business, or whatever social service or voluntary service what we do, but we never go and check what shows up on our Google result. Okay, even before I came in here, I'm sure people would have gone into my LinkedIn, people would have gone into my Google and searched me and trying to understand me better. So would you search your search result, show something like this, like you are a member of a professional organization just like KMA, or will it show an article which you recently wrote, or will it show your social media pages? Okay, if it's going to be a social media page, what kind of posts come up? Okay, why am I asking these questions? It's very relevant. I will tell you in a minute. Okay, but do this exercise, and if you have not done that already, please, I will highly recommend you to please do it. Okay, so as we unwrap what a personal brand can do for you, this step would prove to be important to determine what your first step should be. Okay, if you go and check the Google results, if with something personal information is going to come up, this is not what your audience, what you want your audience to see, right? Okay, so try to do this first step before you do anything else. Okay, and other important factor here is, if you want to be authentic in your brand identity, use your real name. Okay, use your high resolution image. Okay, it doesn't matter if you don't change it. I've seen people who have not changed the profile pictures for years. I've seen people who change it very often, morning once, evening once, next day once. So it doesn't matter, but use your real name. Please use a high resolution image, and most important, project your best work forward. It can be on LinkedIn, it can be on your personal website, but project your best work. Okay, don't limit yourself. Okay, when I say best work, it doesn't mean what you do at your work, what you do at your profession. Okay, don't limit or put up information only relevant to your work, but rather try to bring all your experience forward. Okay, if you Google me, it is not just Betamonks which will come up. Okay, I also do a lot of work for skill development. I work with a lot of students. Okay, I have developed an entrepreneurship program because I have been blessed with a lot of angels in my life. Okay, coming from nowhere, I have achieved little bit, and I have to give the credit to a lot of angels. So I wanted to be an angel in somebody else's life. Okay, I had been successful in my entrepreneurial career because of the blessings what I had. So I wanted to bring a structured curriculum, and I gave it as a free course. And trust me, almost 5,000 students have been benefited, and a lot of students have proceeded with their business. So likewise, try to bring out the experience, those kind of experience on your social media, on your personal brand. And that is exactly what you will find. I go to a lot of these forums and share my knowledge, because that is exactly where I come from. It is not just about building technology. It's not about just designing, but it's about what values you can give back. And that's a legacy what I'm leaving behind, right? So that is how you can create your unique brand identity. There's a lot of technology companies, there are a lot of co-founders, but not everyone is doing what I'm doing. Okay, likewise, in everybody's profession, in everybody's personal life, you have your own unique identity. It is just that we don't realize it, right? This is the right time you go and dig all those things, do your homework, and I'm sure you will get the best personal brand what you can think of. Okay, now how do you communicate? Now we have seen what you have to communicate, and the next important step is how do you communicate that value to your target audience. Okay, so you have to align with the environment. You have to do everything around you that sends out that message about who you are to your target audience, irrespective of, like, see, I have seen people who want to be everywhere. Okay, when I talk about personal brand, they will open their Facebook page, they'll open the LinkedIn page, Insta, everywhere. Okay, that is not necessary. Okay, have one or two pages where you can manage, okay, where your audience are. So having knowledge about who you want to see your post, that is very important. If you are in the middle management, or like senior management, or you're looking for the next level, to move better, you have to define who is going to be the target audience, who has to see your post, who has to be updated about what you do. Okay, try to define that. Okay, that is very important. So try to create meaningful content. Okay, your content should be branded with your image, with your name. Bring your best expertise forward. Okay, it can be motivational quote, it can be a report about your organization, it can be even the information what you have gathered about your industry, anything. Okay, but be consistent. Let the content be personalized. Don't just copy from somewhere and have it put. Let it be your personalized content. Okay. Next is where you want to communicate your value. This is exactly what we spoke right now. Which social media channel or where you want yourself to be available. As I said, don't be more than in 2 channels initially. Try to see how you can handle, and also the frequency with which you post. Okay, some days you post daily and then you don't post. Don't be. You have a frequency. I post weekly once. At least one thing will go. Some quote with my image, or something which I do. Some workshops what I do. All this will be on my page. So try to see. And also one important thing is there are 2 different things: your personal account and your personal brand account. Your personal account, where you share information about yourself, about your family, what you do on your pastime. Don't mingle that with your personal brand account. Always, if you don't have a personal account, great. If you have one, please try to segregate your personal brand account and your personal account. Okay, so this was about this, and this definitely takes time. Okay, let me tell you, it's not something which can happen overnight, but consistency is the key. So try to be consistent with your with your post. And The entire process, what we spoke right now, the 3-step process, this is going to help you build your personal brand. Okay. We also have some freshers and people who have just started. So I wanted to give you an approach. If you think I don't have this much of time, okay, I want to have some simple things which I can do, but I'm going to simplify that for you. Okay. One is, build expertise. Okay. Do you need a clarity here. Do you need to be a generalist or you want to be a specialist? Okay. You have to be a specialist, in my opinion, if you want to have a great brand. Okay. It is better to be exceptional in one thing than good at many things. Okay. If you ask me, I don't do too many workshops. I only talk about personal brand. I only talk about my entrepreneurial journey, which I'm specialized on. Otherwise, I don't do any other workshop. And see how you can giving is more important than taking. Okay. So significance comes from adding value to the community, adding value to society, adding value to the world at large, and also trying to reinvent yourself. Okay. Just keep learning. I saw a lot of comments where you wanted to keep learning because every day is learning experience. So 3 things which drive to people, to motivate people is, one is purpose, next is mastery, okay, and the other is freedom at work. Okay, which is very, very important, which I believe in all my career in the last 15, 20 years, what I've worked, freedom at work is really, really important. Okay. So when you're building your expertise, when you're adding value, when you're trying to reinvest yourself, you also need a strategy, okay, which can actually help you close this. Okay. You need to be very clear, you need to be very committed, and you have to be consistent. Okay. So the underlying principle is you need to be constantly communicating with whatever people connected with you, whatever target audience you are looking at. And last very important point here is be part of a community tribe. I'm so happy to be in KMA because this is like a community. This is more like a family is what I felt in the first initial 10 minutes, what I had been listening to a conversation. So try to be part of a community, try to be part of a tribe in order to help you succeed in whatever you want to. Okay. Look for someone who share a common vision. Okay. Not necessary in your same profession. Look for those who have that common vision. Okay. Become a part of a professional network, just like KMA. They become your support system. Okay, I cannot emphasize enough, but outside your organization, being able to make connections with like-minded people is very, very, very important for you to take yourself and also your brand forward. So, and you know what, end of the day, they become your biggest cheerleaders. Okay, so try to as much of people part of, as much of groups what you can. Okay, so that brings to the end of the discussion. This is something very important. I've just given it a nutshell of what we discussed. Okay, your personal brand is your reputation. As I always say, it is your legacy. Okay, so define who you are. Try to embrace and expand your experiences. Try to learn new things, and don't limit yourself. Don't limit yourself to your profession. Identify your target audience. Don't be to everyone to know everyone. Try to craft your personal profile. Okay, and the elevator pitch, what we spoke, that's really important. Okay, and most important, be authentic, be consistent, be authentic, be you. Okay, be true to yourself, because that's all matters, right? Okay, so I would like to conclude. Before I conclude, I would like to thank everyone, and maybe a final bits of gyan before I leave is that start building your brand. If you have not started yet, please start building it somewhere, but be consistent. And building a brand is not an overnight job. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So I think I've broadly covered what I wanted to cover. So dream, dare, do whatever you do, but build your brand you. That's what I want to leave it with. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Senthamarai. And before I make some comments, we have Dr. Shobha Menon, who is present here, and another member of the Women Managers Forum, to handle the Q&A. I mean, she, if you want to know about Dr. Shobha, she's a professor at SCMS School of Technology and Management. And before that, she was in the industry for the past more than 20 years. Authored books on collaborative destination marketing papers. But now it's her role to engage Dr. Senthamarai with the Q&A session with her own questions, if any, on the session just completed, as well as those questions which are being raised by our delegates. Over to you, Dr. Shobha.
Thank you, President. That was a great session, Dr. Senthamarai. Thank you for such an illuminating and very interactive session on branding. Whether you are an entrepreneur or an employee, a student, personal branding has become essential for success. That's what we are seeing now. It's a key to fully unlocking our professional potential. Now, there are a lot of management students in our audience today. And of course, you ended your session with some good advice for them. But there's one question I would like to ask, which my students were asking. How exactly do you start the process? The first steps to take.
First step will be always to try to discover yourself, Shubha. First of all, identifying who you are is so important, because whatever you start with, if you don't know what is your value, where are you different, how are you different, then you will not be successful in your brand. So trying to identify more about who you are really matters. That's exactly where, and being a student, you really have to see how you can be different from your students, because a lot of people come out of the batches, a lot of batches come out. So you really have to think whatever activities what we did, I have done that with a lot of students. Trust me, that exactly helps them to identify who they are and their differentiating factor, their USP. Okay, once they find these two and their passion, okay, then they find out their personal brand. In fact, a lot of people have come with new professions. They've joined new professions. They have started entrepreneurship. They've started they've got into their passionate things like photography or video editing. A lot of people took diversion from what they were studying and identified their passion. So these kind of exercises really matter. But to start is they have to discover themselves. In fact, I saw yes.
Yeah. Carry on.
Yeah, I saw one important question before it goes. Why don't we build multiple brands for yourself in different fields? See, you can, but the problem is you are one, right? You are only you. Okay. So what happens is, one thing is practical problem. How do you manage multiple things? And when you Google, people get confused. Why am I saying this? I have learned the hard way. Okay. So when I was doing fashion designing and also doing the software business, fashion designing is the most talked about topic. So you become a celebrity. In fact, I was a celebrity fashion stylist. So when you search, you still search me, lot of these fashion things come up. Okay. So whatever good work we do in other places don't show up. Okay. So the priority, okay, whatever awards you receive or whatever good work you do or whatever relevant to your business, the other business doesn't show up. So you have to prioritize, or you have to decide what is that one thing what you want to focus on, how you want others to perceive you as a brand. This entire 1 hour is what you spoke. I mean, what we spoke. Okay, how others see you is more important. It's not what you think yourself. So if you are looking at 2-3 professions, 2-3 pages, 2-3 personal brands, it is going to lead to unnecessary confusion.
Yeah, the public perception. Have we lost her?
And I'm not sure you like myself. So last couple of years, dating is also difficult.
Yes.
Yeah, Sintha, I think your line seems to be giving some trouble, Sintha. Sintha, your line seems to be giving some trouble now.
Let me stop sharing right now. Just a minute. Sorry.
She's back.
Let me, yeah. Okay. So is the line okay now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, we can.
Thanks to technology, these things happen. Okay, so yeah, so what I was saying is experiment. It's always an experiment and there's nothing to lose. But yes, I have done that in my personal life and not much happened. So it was it was like I was riding 2 horses together. So I had to leave one horse and then continue with the other one. So try that, no harm. Any other questions?
Yeah, there is one question by Mr. K.S. Matthew. Is brand statement same as personal mission statement?
That is inclusive. Your brand statement also includes your mission, because that we talk about if you remember the value proposition, what we spoke, your purpose, your vision is in your purpose, and your value proposition includes your purpose, your passion, your skill set, and everything else. So that is also inclusive of that. Yes.
Yes, and there is, you've answered that multi roles. Then there is a question which is, Shailaja has asked that question. How can an employee achieve freedom at work?
I was just coming over there. See, it's about how you do. In fact, I would like to quote that with an example. I had been, my initial days were with, maybe the last days with banking was with American Express. Okay. So it's how you understand your job responsibilities and show ownership. Okay, and then you get your freedom at work. So practically I've seen that. I've been reporting to the national manager, and no, I was able to establish myself as a good banker, overachieving in whatever I did over there, and that freedom of work automatically comes in. Even here, the business what we do, every employee is given the respective freedom what they are responsible. They take ownership. With ownership comes the responsibility. With responsibility comes all the other things associated with it. So it's up to the employer, and also the decision on the employer is also on how we take up ownership, how we take up responsibilities, and the results what we have shown. So that I think it's a combination of all these things, Shailaja, but the majority is depending on your employer.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's one more question from Mr. Matthew. Can our brand change as we progress in life?
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is so true. Okay. So you have, it is an ongoing process, as I said, and it has to keep evolving. It can't be the same. It has to keep evolving as we move up, getting some additional skill sets, or like, when we upgrade ourselves, or when we evolve, our personal brand evolves with us. So it's a great process, and the way I have evolved, or I've seen many of my students or many of my mentees evolve, it is absolutely wonderful, Matthew. You will like that progress.
Okay, there is one. How do you find your value? I think you have answered that question. Would you like
value? Yeah. So you have to dig deep. Who has asked that question? You have to dig deep. Value is not outside. Value is you. Okay. You have to understand what you value the most. Okay. So then only because that is one thing which nobody can teach you. That is only with you. You have to sit and do your homework. Maybe the activities what we discussed, all those things can help you identify your value, but you have to do your homework. How much of interpersonal and emotional skills matter in your journey? See, it really matters, but the thing is, when you're building a brand, I don't talk about emotion, because that is not the primary thing. When I even spoke about the thought leadership, we only spoke about these three things. Even social media right now, because digital is everything. That's how the social media comes in to place. Otherwise, in your workplace, your even social media doesn't matter, right? Even if you don't have a great social page, your Facebook or a LinkedIn page, if you have a personal brand physically, like with your team members or within your organization, that is more than sufficient. Okay, so emotional skills do matter, but not that much which can break or make your personal brand. Okay, interpersonal skills, of course, it helps you in a way. Okay, but that is not the primary factor for you to build your brand. Yeah, that all will comes under your skills, Sabu.
I think that's about all the questions we have time for.
Oh yes, yeah.
Shall I summarize, or?
Please,
Yeah,
please, thank you so much.
You can go ahead. Yeah. Sure, you can go ahead.
So it has been a very interesting session, Dr. Senthamarai. It's very, interactive, with a lot of surveys and a lot of activities for the audience, which also, made us think, reflect on the way our choices and the way we lead our lives. So, so you started with asking what makes you unique and what makes you successful, and Dr. Senthamarai gave us examples from her own personal branding journey. She made a very important statement. Your brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Of course, she had quoted that statement, but it is a very valid statement for all of us to ponder on. And then she talked about personal brand, and what exactly, the important constituents of personal branding: spiritual thought leadership, strategic thought leadership, social media thought leadership. And she had explained in detail what these concepts were. what you are online or offline matters. And I think that's very important today. Another, when we talk about brand positioning, the same applies here. We have to find the differentiator. What is it that differentiates one individual from the other? So your action plus your target client, and that's the solution we get. So she had a lot of such unique, interesting tips to all of us. And she concluded with talking about the value proposition. That is, our brand comprises our passion, values, purpose, and skill set. And the strategies to build the brand, to discover your identity, crafting your identity, communicating your value. So she ended her talk with some special tips for the people starting on their personal branding journey, building expertise, adding value, reinventing yourself, and most important, be part of the community tribe. So thank you, Dr. Senthamarai, for such an interesting session. And I'm sure it will make all of us, revalue what we are doing online and offline. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Shobha. And it was a very lucid session, I would say, with a lot of interactive questions and explanations, as well as some kind of questions which are provoking us with a lot of smartness within that. Well, she reminded us yet again that brand building, not only for our products and services, it is important to build that personal branding also for our success in a profession, career, or business, or even in your social work. Very important to position yourself and create yourself as an icon, however big or small that is. If not for anything, please keep in mind branding is all about how you would like to be remembered after you're gone. I always feel that all we do is to create a legacy for each of us on how we would be remembered after we are gone. Or in simple terms, branding is also a way of creating our own obituary. And that is exactly what proper branding does to us, scientifically and systematically, with a focused approach and giving the freedom and control to ourselves to decide how we are being branded. Thank you so much, Senthamarai, for that thought-provoking session, which was indeed very, very smooth flowing and enlightening to many of us here. Thank you so much for your time. I'm sure there is a formal vote of thanks, but I'm grateful that you spend your time here with KMA and our delegates here. Before I hand it over for the formal vote of thanks, let me just inform the delegates present here. We have a very packed September ahead of us. Few days from now, on September 16th, we have the most important memorial lecture of KMA, the MKK Nair memorial lecture, happening with none other than the Chief Secretary of Kerala, Dr. VP Joy IAS, addressing us that is on 16th of September. And again, on 21st of September, we have the next edition of the Rendezvous with the CEO Forum activity. This time we have Mr. Dilip Uman, the CEO of ArcelorMittal, going to address us. He's going to be engaged in a conversation with our chairman of the CEO Forum, Mr. Prasad Panikar, former executive director of BPCL Kochi Refinery, and now the executive director and the CEO of Nair Refineries. Along with him will be Mr. Madhu Nair, the chairman and managing director of Kochi Shipyard. That is on September 21st in the Rendezvous with CEO. And 22nd and 23rd, we have the IMA National Convention. This time, the good news is that all of us can attend without any registrations. Bad news that it's online. We cannot go to Delhi and attend the convention and get that feel of IMA conferences. But it's a great news that all of us, all the KMA members, are invited to log in and attend the IMA National Convention. It's a great galaxy of leaders actually addressing the convention. Details were mailed to you by the KMA Secretariat. If you've got any clarifications, queries on that, please get in touch with the Secretariat. September 22nd and 23rd, that's the IMA National Management Convention. And 27th, we have the next edition of the MSME Workshop series. We have started that series after the inauguration by Mr. P. Rajiv, our minister. We had the first session after that by Mr. Mohammad Hanish, and dwelling on the policies and matters related to the central government, and this time it is for the state government, and we have Mr. S. Harikishore IAS, Director of Industries and Commerce of the Government of Kerala, going to address us on, or the MSME segment, on the systems and processes and protocols and all the offerings from the governments for reviving and rejuvenating the MSME segment. That is on 27th September. And on 28th September, next day, immediately after that, we have the next leader talk session. Very interesting one. We are seeing a lot of oppositions as well as progresses happening on something called K-Rail. So we have the leader talk session with none other than the Managing Director of Kerala Rail Development Corporation, Mr. V. Ajit Kumar, going to talk to us on the K-Rail plans, which is going to be on September 28th. So a packed session. So please keep watching all the announcements, notices over WhatsApp, email, SMS or whatever from KMA, and be tuned. Now it's time to propose a formal vote of thanks, and we have none other than the mentor for many here, Madam Shalini Warrior of the Women Managers Forum, proposing the formal vote of thanks to Dr. Senthamarai and all of us present here. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Madhav. Normally, Jomon would do this much more effectively than I will, but I will try and do justice to it. So first, Sentha, thank you very much for spending time and for taking us through these details on the brand. I think Shobha summarized it. But just for the benefit of everybody, I have known Sentha now for a couple of years. She's been doing a lot of work on the IWN brand, the CII IWN brand, and I can kind of say that she's been responsible for making sure that brand presence is felt on social media now. So Sentha, thank you very much for taking us through these details, and really appreciate the time you have spent with us. Thank you. To KMA President, Madhav, Nirmala Lily, the past presidents, other dignitaries from the managing committee and otherwise, thank you again on a Thursday evening, spending about an hour and a half with the team out here and encouraging not just Sentha, but encouraging the Women's Forum to keep coming up with events of various kinds. We had an audience, I think at its peak, we had about 83 people is what I noticed. So thank you very much for the audience, very participative, all the quizzes, the activities, there was a lot of chat happening, which was indicative of the kind of participation we had. So thank you. Project Jojo, KMA Secretariat, without your help, we could not have done this. Thank you for your time. Thank you for helping us to organize these sessions. Thank you to you also. I know there is a memento, so
yes.
yeah. So Sentha, there is a convention that we have a memento. The memento will be shown to you virtually right now. It's a customized one taken on the occasion itself with the relevant kind of screen grabs. This will be sent to you in physical form. This is one thing that KMA still depends on and relies on physical. So there's something physical happening in our world right now. Everything is not virtual. So this will come to you in due course as a memento of your time spent with us. So thank you once again to everybody. As Madhav said, a packed September ahead. KMA looks forward to all the other sessions that are coming up. So thank you. And back to you.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank you.
Senthamarai, and all of you, both the menons present here did it so well. So thank you so much for linking up the introduction and the question answer. Two menons did it so well. Thank you so much. And